Hi everyone and welcome to another pick a card reading. Today's subject is not a timeless one, for it refers to the Gemini solar eclipse taking place on the 10th of June 2021. And as we know, solar eclipses are very powerful karmic moments when a lot of things can change. Lunar eclipses usually bring terminations, completions, culminations, but it is solar eclipses which usually, are associated with new beginnings, unexpected twists and turns of events which lead somewhere new, or they catapult us into, maybe unfamiliar territory, or something very important happens in our lives in order to lead us to a breakthrough, to very important choices, decisions that are definitely going to impact our futures. And this is where it's more about the longer term future, because the solar eclipse means that it's very close to the North Node, which is the karmic path forward in life. And at the same time, the Sun and the Moon are going to be tightly conjunct a Mercury retrograde, which is also the ruling planet of this eclipse. It happens in its home sign of Gemini. So basically it is a rather dual, adaptable, and quite surprising and shocking energy, which also may evoke certain things from the past, especially the recent past, let's say a couple of years, some plans, relationships, communications, maybe paperwork that has been like pending for some time now, or a decision, a choice that you weren't very clear of and have been delaying, even avoiding because you didn't have what you needed to make a rational, but at the same time emotionally safe and sound choice or decision as well. But perhaps the main theme of this eclipse is about finding one's true, authentic self, your true identity, not just as a human being, not just as a component of society, but also who it is that you are on a deep soul core level. And these two have to basically be able to shake hands, be able to coexist in perfect harmony, and that is power. When who it is that you are deep inside your soul is able to be projected onto the world, or basically any area of your life through your human identity, so who you are as a human being, well, that is a state of infinitely great empowerment, regardless, of what it means for each and every one of us personally. But basically that is living's one truth. May it be good, bad, difficult, easy, it doesn't matter, neither the polarity, neither the nuance. Truth is truth. So basically this truth is one of the core requirements of this solar eclipse, because we have to build around that. And perhaps this past lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on the 26th of May, was a really powerful mirror, or basically revelation, which basically highlighted something about our true soul level identity. And that truth is being taken with us to the into the future. And what it revealed to be untrue, for example, maybe a misaligned belief, maybe a misjudgment of ourselves, maybe us being for a very long time aligned to a self-defeating goal, or an illusion, or a bad relationship, or whatever. Now that is what we discarded or are discarding at this present moment. But of course, enough about the general expression of this energy and astrology. Let's get to what the cards say, what the divine intelligence delivers through this pick a card reading. So as always, just take a look at these cards for a couple of seconds, or as long as you need, then choose a pile which sparks up your intuitive sense the most. The interpretations, the timestamps can be found in the comments below and also in the description of the video. But like for every general reading, just take in what resonates and fits your own unique situation and discard the rest. With this being said, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to support my work and help me create more pick a card readings similar to this one in the future, you can donate in the PayPal link in the description of the video. Now let's begin the interpretation of the 4 piles of cards. Hello everyone who has chosen the first pile. Your cards are the 7 of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Justice reversed, and 8 of Swords reversed. Now, these combination of cards can represent different things for different people. This is not like a very general energy because it's highly personal for you and your situation. So you might have to, interpret it a little bit so that it can fit what you have in your life right now. For some people, this is something to do with legal matters, with paperwork, with something that you need from either an authority or a court of justice, or maybe a support for a project, something that you have been trying very, very hard to initiate, or to basically give it a legal shape or form, let's say consolidated in the material economic world in society, so it can exist like, let's say, a project, a business, you going freelance, self-employed, maybe a charity or something that has to do with something that you're really good at and you want to make that a part of your future because perhaps in the past 8 months of your lives, either spiritually or from a very basic human perspective, from other people, experts, friends, family, colleagues, whoever, you got a lot of inspiration, you got a lot of positive feedback that this is definitely something that you should focus your energies and your intentions on, because it would be the most ideal and most favorable future for you if you integrate this into your life, but in a much higher level than you have ever done before. So that's why this 8 of Wands, for some people, it can also represent study, skills, talents, knowledge that they have. And maybe they want to become a teacher or mentor, or they want to share it with the world one way or another. For other people, it can be some kind of business, some kind of maybe collaboration, cooperation, but they need some kind of paperwork, or they need some kind of grants, or the support from an organization, a legal element from somewhere to make it work, to make it, be able to support itself. And also this Knight of Wands, you're very passionate about that. So you don't just have the skill and the knowledge and the potential and the experience, but you also have the passion and you also have this inner creativity where you are not just gonna be one of those people who do this, or have this, or can do this. You are gonna be extremely unique and very, very powerful in what it is that you're trying to create. But for other people, it might not necessarily have to be like a project or any kind of lucrative purpose, but it might be like a legal case. It might be, for example, a pending divorce, where they need that, the court ruling, for example, or a different side of it, the repartition of resources or whatever, in order for them to step into their independence financially, legally, in any way possible. So some of you guys need this act of justice to give you what is rightfully yours. and whatever that is, may it be like just a simple divorce ruling, may it be certain rights, or basically help from like authorities or local council, but you need that paper or you need that status to be able to, be eligible. While for others still, well, this Eight of Wands can represent relocation. Either you're moving home, but it's not like I'm moving into the next neighborhood. I'm moving into the peripheries of the zone that I live in, so in a, let's say, a little bit nicer place or whatever. This is where like you're really moving, either long distance into perhaps in the other end of the country, or for some people abroad, or maybe this move doesn't necessarily have to mean just a house. They just leave their country and find another life, start a new life or a business or work in another country. And perhaps they need some kind of paperwork, or they need to sort out a legal issue for this move to take place. But this legal issue is something that you kind of necessarily need, regardless of what your unique situation may be. And also another thing that everyone has in common is the desire, the passion. This is something that you can see as being an active, valid, fulfilling part of your future, because that Eight of Wands is also the arrows of your desire which hit the bullseye. But regardless of what your unique situation is, what these cards are tell us, that this solar eclipse is really going to shake things up, because on one hand, the Eight of Wands is one of the quickest and, almost instantaneous energies in the tarot. So perhaps opportunities and things that you need are going to appear in your life very, very quickly, but in a very tumultuous way. Perhaps right now you are so stuck in your situation that you're just waiting for a court ruling or that paperwork to be finished, and that is your only option, that is your only choice, that is what you're focused on exclusively. And perhaps as the eclipse nears, or perhaps after the eclipse, you're gonna find yourself that, okay, that paperwork is done, but you all of a sudden have like 10 other choices, and what do you do? What do you choose? What is right or wrong? So basically, it is not gonna be that simple. It's not gonna be like a singular outcome where what you have in mind right now is gonna complete itself, take place, and you move from there, you make the next step, you make the next rational, logical choice. But it's more like things are really gonna be shaken up. And even though this is rather positive, because a lot of opportunities appearing out of nowhere, well, that is usually something to be joyful for. But perhaps in your case, it's gonna be a little bit shocking, because you will have the choice, you will have perhaps the possibility, the opportunity to skip the legal step, 100%. So maybe the choice that you're so focused on right now won't be needed and necessary whatsoever. But if you are like, for example, an air sign, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, then you may find that energy to make the choice what to choose. Do you choose the straightforward legal path that you have been focusing on until this moment? Do you choose an option which is like a big detour, perhaps the help of someone, perhaps a totally different and surprising mean to give you what you need? Or maybe all of a sudden you have a massive change of heart and emotion that you don't believe. This is just, for example, that you don't believe in earthly justice anymore, as in the court systems, the way authorities handle stuff, or you're truly done waiting for that document or whatever that is, and you're taking matters in your own hands. And as soon as you have these feelings, a choice, an option, something very quickly appears in your life to give you exactly that, how should I even say, to reflect that way of thinking and feeling, the detour that you need. But there will be a little bit of fear energy here. What is right and what is wrong? When you have so many choices, which one is the right path? But of course, another way that this energy can play out, well, it can be a little bit shocking, because perhaps you might be awaiting, the justice system, the court system, the administration system to do its job to get you what you need. The paper, the status, everything that involves legal issues or administrative issues. And you might be patiently waiting it out. Maybe you have some deadlines, some dates where you know that another phase begins. Maybe you were promised certain key moments, what to expect, when to expect it. But all of a sudden, karma takes a totally different turn. And instead of that earthly justice, you get a divine justice, which puts you in a way more superior position, and you will no longer need to wait for anything. If that administrative issue or legal issue was basically keeping you chained, but not necessarily in a bad way, because all of us are subject to this kind of wait, this kind of patience, and at the same time waiting for the resolution of certain documents or a court ruling or administration or whatever. It is also a karmic test of patience. Like it or not, this is where not even the divine can make that document or whatever that is go faster than it is basically possible in human terms. And because maybe you really, really passed this karmic test of patience by exactly being patient, not panicking, not overthinking, not allowing the frustration to get the better of you, your reward is divine justice, as in, because you've been so patient, because you were diligent, mature, and basically very understanding. So that is why the divine might give you something much better than you could have ever dreamed of, where the legal issue, the situation, paperwork, or whatever that is, will no longer matter at all, because you will just wake up with something much better in your grip, as in your spiritual grip, an option, a chance, an offer. And the resolution is this 8 of Swords. So this is a lot of 8 energy, 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords. 8 is usually a very lucky and fortunate number when things truly fall into place. Now the 8 of Swords upright would not be a very good energy, because even in its most positive symbolism, it is like when the spider has woven its web and it is waiting for something to get stuck in it. So in a way, the spider is trapped as well, because without chance and opportunity, it is not going to survive, no matter how beautiful, ingenious, big, well strategically positioned the web is. It still needs a prey in it. So basically, this is the most favorable and positive expression of the 8 of Swords in upright position, where you just need to wait, you just need to be able to have something in your life to work with. So it kind of depends on the flow, and its most negative expression is when you have absolutely no options in life, when you're, bound and blinded and immobilized in every single way, with your career, let's say, with your choices, opportunities, relationships, mentally, emotionally, so you're stuck. And in reverse position, well, it either means that the spider has already caught a massive prey in its web and it is just now, dealing with it, or if it's the situation where you're totally blinded and binded and, have no ways to move forward. Well, in reverse position, it means that the blindfold is off and all the bounds are finally taken off so you can progress, you can move, you can do something, and you also have control, so it's not just like you're being pushed or you have one singular course of action and nothing else is available, but rather quite opposite. You can navigate between different alternatives, different combinations, different possibilities, and perhaps, since that blindfold is off, maybe you will have a perspective, an outlook to things which were totally not available for you personally until that present moment. So that can mean new ideas, new communication, a new modus operandi. And what matters truly is that it's a rather quick energy. So even though, the sphere of influence of any new moon and also a solar eclipse as well, it is a week before it takes place and over the course of the next 6 months. And chances are for you guys, it's gonna be quite quick, quite close to that eclipse date. Or it can also mean, within 8 weeks. But even if it's within 8 weeks, that doesn't mean stagnation until then. That 8 of Swords reversed, the blindfold falls off immediately, and then one binding after another, you get released. So something, at least a communication, information, suggestion, maybe an offer from abroad, some kind of connection is still going to happen in your life quite quickly. So for those of you who have been trying to get a project working or going freelance or, doing your own thing legally as well, so it has a legal side as well, because, of social security and all that, for you guys, maybe all of a sudden, many more options or many more ways to obtain this are going to appear in your life, not just the one you might be working with, the one you might be waiting for, or the one you are basically focused on. It can be absolutely anything, maybe an offer, a collaboration, which will change the legal configuration of your situation. Or maybe you will get a chance to go abroad and then that changes everything. For those of you who might be trying to relocate, maybe a move house or just simply live in a different area, in a different community, and maybe a different country, perhaps it is the legal requirements which are basically binding you right now that are gonna get easier, or maybe an external legal situation changes, international law for example. But it can also be the case where the international law changes in an unfavorable way, where you will kind of know that you have no real means to legally go abroad. So something totally different but much better enters into your life. Perhaps relocation to a totally different country that you have been anticipating or desiring or wanting, or perhaps a relocation in your own country, but to a place which kind of gives you what you're looking for, either emotionally, materially, work-wise, opportunity-wise, community-wise. And for those of you who have been waiting for a divorce paper or separation to get your share of the things, your rights, or whatever that is, maybe the situation is going to change, but not necessarily because of the court ruling, but maybe the person or something happens in your life which determines a compromise or let's say a mutual agreement which makes the court ruling futile or unnecessary anymore. So something will definitely change. But what everyone has in common, this change, may it be something unexpected or may it be very tumultuous, it sets you free. So this is the energy of freedom. This is the energy where you can move forward, not just on one path, but you will have more options. This is where it ends mental, legal, and opportunity-wise stagnation in your life. So it sets you free. And as I said, the earthly legal side of things won't even matter as much, because this is when divine justice is gonna make sure that you get even more than you ask for and deserve. So this is what the cards have to say for this upcoming solar eclipse in Gemini. For those of you who have chosen the first pile, thank you so much for listening. Wish you a truly magical and life-changing eclipse. Hello everyone who has chosen the second pile. For your group, the cards are the Five of Coins reversed, the Magician reversed, the Devil, and the resolution is the Eight of Swords reversed. Now for you guys, I'm picking up that this eclipse is definitely going to be like a saving grace, because your situation is that kind of serious, or you are that stuck in an old cycle. And this is where this energy is not just karmic in nature. It isn't just something that has to do with your own unique journey in life, with your own karma, with your own evolution and metamorphosis, especially from a spiritual perspective. But it also has to do with your position in either society or, simply said, in the world, in this timeline, in this day and age that we're living. And for you guys, this energy is extremely shadowy. The sign of Gemini, it can be interpreted as light and dark, as the higher self, but also the shadow. If we just look at the symbolism behind the constellation of Gemini, the two twins, Castor and Pollux, one was an immortal, godlike being, and the other was half mortal. And this didn't really separate them. This made their bond that much stronger. So when I say shadow energy and its dominance, well, don't understand it in a wrong way, because this is nothing bad. This is imperatively needed. So perhaps, the Magician reversed, even your higher self, even the divine forces are empowering your shadow to do something. When I say to do something, well, that is in a metaphysical way. For example, to attract something, to change something within you, to make a certain mental pattern manifest, etc. So in this sense, to do something, which has to be the key, your path, your own unique doorway to greater freedom, independence, and liberty. And sometimes it takes a very strong shadow in order to obtain just that. Because, the higher self is way more permissive. The higher self is never an energy or a part of our beings which goes against the world. May it be good or bad, may it be full of pain, suffering, or joy, or whatever. Because, the higher self is an integrate part of the divine. If the divine is a living, breathing organism, well, the higher self will respect the greater harmony of the one organism, of the singularity of the divine. One of the best examples for this is, the symbolism of Christ. He chose to submit and ultimately be physically defeated by the world instead of, causing certain powerful changes in external reality which would have upset the universal balance, as in he could have so very easily conjured up a miracle to save himself, but he knew that he had to respect the harmony of the universe and the course of fate, basically. And the reason why I'm starting your reading with these philosophies is that you have to understand why your higher self is not in the spotlight right now. Because the only way the higher self can, let's say, break certain patterns is if it empowers the shadow to fight, to enact, to attract, to basically use one's personal power in order to achieve breakthrough. Ask and you shall be given. This is exactly how the shadow works in the most healthiest ways possible. If you know what you ask for and you paid the price and you are diligent and wise, there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't receive it. And at the same time, your shadow has been made dormant, if this makes sense, because you might have had a period, a few years of very strong spiritual awakening, where of course you embodied the higher principles of love and compassion, and basically to understand how the divine works in the world, in your life, who it is that you are at the very core of your being, exploring your spiritual gifts, especially that of empathy, which is absolutely wonderful. It is like the biggest blessing one could possibly ask for, but at the same time, look at this 5 of coins reversed. This means that either your material situation has been shattered, as in you were close to almost being homeless, you almost lost everything. It means a huge material loss for some people. For other people, it means joblessness, where you just couldn't integrate in any kind of, job, any kind of lucrative community, like a company or whatever. And it was almost like a miracle in itself, because the magician reverse represents that you're an infinitely intelligent and skilled individual, so you can do so very many jobs, especially those which require either communication or simply intellect, rationality, logic, problem-solving skills, ingenious solutions, internet work, maybe IT, etc. But something blocked off everything. While for other people, this 5 of coins represents not necessarily material problems, poverty, scarcity, joblessness, but it might represent really powerful and life-changing health condition. For example, either a lot of physical problems that resulted from stress, from overworking, from your own ambitions, or from your own act of self-sacrifice for your loved ones, family, etc. And that consumed you so very much that basically it stopped your physical body. Maybe you've been experiencing chronic fatigue, where you literally cannot get out of bed no matter what you do. For others, it was neurological and psychological problems which just shut down your body. For others, it was more severe medical problems, maybe due to hormones, maybe an operation, maybe severe digestive problems, or with an organ which has to do with digestion, like pancreas, liver, kidney, etc. And it was vengeful. It was really, really, really hard. And at the same time, it was like a total dichotomy, because on a soul level, you were basically living your truth. You were discovering yourself. You were going through the past, releasing all the hurts, all the traumas, all the pains that you've been through all throughout your life. But the thing is, you were such a tough person. You were like infinitely resilient. So basically the traumas, the hurts, the pains, and all the bad things that happened to you in the past, even starting from childhood, maybe it all started with your family of origin, where they hurt you in a way no one else could, but you were so resilient, so endurant, that you weren't like other people where you broke down. No one even knew what you were living inside of yourself. So you weren't truly defeated, not even for a second. And it took that moment, how should I even say, that karmic full stop for you to actually be defeated. Your body or your material situation, your human shell, may that be a house, a marriage, money, work, career, income, or your health, well, that was ultimately defeated and broken, but your spirit rose up like never before, and ultimately your shadow had to be silent, had to be dormant, for you to observe who it is that you truly are, because you needed a lot of self-love, forgiveness for the self, forgiveness of others, self-care, self-nurture, and profound, and I mean like truly as profound as it could possibly get, self-appreciation, being able to consciously, not just emotionally and on a soul level, but also mentally, logically, and quite rationally, to see your good intent, just how pure, just how benevolent everything about you, mind, soul, human identity including, is. Because through your life, many toxic people manipulated you into thinking that you're a bit weird, you're a bit selfish, you're a bit like this and that really twisted your self-worth, and ultimately the universe had to choose this very, let's say, perhaps unorthodox way of manifestation in order to return you to sheer belief in the self, because without self-belief, basically everything is a lie. So it had to turn you back to yourself. And this is all a chapter of the past, perhaps the past 5 years, or perhaps only the past 2 years. But the essence of this situation is, the 5 of coins, reversed. On one hand, you are out of the crisis emotionally and even materially, but basically it's not where you want to be, it's not where you need to be, it is full of compromises, it is still full of sacrifices, it is still you not living your dream, not living your truth, your external reality still doesn't reflect almost whatsoever who it is that you are at the very core of your being. And that 5 of Cups reversed, yes, you are not in the drama, you're not in the black night of the soul, but your situation isn't healed yet, it isn't regenerated yet, you haven't recovered your losses yet, may that be money, house, or a much better physical condition, health, healing, true regeneration, where you can even do something with yourself, not just like, okay, the pain is gone, I feel much better, but I need to rest 24/7, and it basically makes my life a prison. We're talking about the kind of healing and regeneration where you can actually live your life and do something with your life. And this is why the power of this eclipse, solar eclipse, light and dark fusing together, it is basically the creational power of the universe, is awakening your shadow, which says enough is enough, I'm definitely going to sort things out right now for myself. So this will awaken a very strong magnetism within you, and this can play out in a number of different ways, but where this is leading you is the same, regardless of your situation. Freedom, dignity, and be able to live your life unattached, shackled down by anyone or anything, may that be material situation, other people, living conditions, etc., or your own emotions, your own mind, your own psyche, your own physical body. So this is where you're heading towards freedom, regardless of what it takes. So basically, this Devil card represents your true power of manifestation, your attraction, your magnetism, whatever you can basically, or however you can project your own power, personal power, may that be metaphysical power, mental power, mind over matter, emotional power, onto physical reality and make something happen or make something appear in your life. The hidden catch here is that it might be a little bit unfair for other people. It might be extremely benevolent, positive. It might be your dream come true for you personally. But the cost of this might be that it's a little bit unfair for other people around you, or socially unfair. Or it might require you to detach from certain ideals of compassion, deep empathy, understanding of others, and putting others before your own needs. This is where you kind of have to be the devil in your life. Sort things out with the power of your intelligence. And the fact that after a long period of being stuck and trapped in a nightmare, finally the universe is going to give you this power, this strength, this magnetism, let's say, to get what you need, what you desire, maybe even in great excess. This is where you must not feel guilty. You mustn't see it as unfairness towards others, because that is exactly why you suffered so much. Everything, life, fate, even the universe itself, everything was unfair to you in the recent past. It was almost like where you lived the biblical story of Job, the symbolism of it. The nightmare was like never ending, so that has to appear in the opposite way right now. So of course you have to get what you need, what you want, and in a very direct manner. It doesn't matter how fair or unfair it is to other people. This is your time, this is your payment, so to speak. You suffered for it, you've done the work for it, and if this is how the universe, the ultimate divine judge, so to speak, has decided to rebuild and fix your situation and allow you to live your truth, your freedom, that which you basically worked for, well, then you have to embrace it with total self-trust and belief in yourself, because at the end of the day, the universe sees that you're more than able to handle this power. The universe deems you more than worthy, because it knows that your morality, your fairness, your equity, your sense of justice is sky high, so you cannot go wrong basically. This is something that happens once in your life, just like the opposite happens, the suffering, total destruction of your material situation or your physical health is something that happens once, while the opposite of that also happens once. Now, maybe let me give you an example to understand why is it a little bit unfair to others but extremely positive for yourself. Now, let's say that you've been through a divorce and you lost so much, especially emotionally, and it destroyed your life. And all of a sudden, you meet a person who just gives you a lot of attention, a lot of everything that your heart could desire, for the simple fact that they find you physically attractive. and you don't even need to reciprocate this in any other way, just accept it. And there might not be any strings attached to it. Someone just pops up in your life who showers you with everything that means well-being for you personally, unconditionally. Of course, they are caught up in their illusion, in their attraction, in their obsession. But ultimately, that is the divine judge at play. That is their karmic lesson, and to receive is your karmic lesson. Or let me give you a totally different kind of example. Maybe there is a big job opportunity, which is not just your dream job, but it is where it might give you a very, very easy life. But it might require for you to have a friend in high place, and this offer just comes to you, and all you need to do is accept it and embrace that easy life, which would be very unfair because it's cheating. Who knows how many younger people, how many other candidates will lose out on this opportunity, which for you just falls in your lap, and it's basically cheating because that person, a friend in high place, will make sure that you will be the winner, you will be selected, you will be chosen, regardless of skill, talent, worthiness, experience, etc. So basically, if you kind of accept the injustice part of it regarding other people, and just accept that this is your divine opportunity, the way it manifests, and just move on with your life and benefit from it, heal your wounds, and basically embrace that easy life, knowing full well that even though it might be a little bit unfair for other people, the good that you can do when you're in your comfort zone, when you're in your position of power, especially if this is very long term, something that is so easy and comfortable and at the same time ridiculously rewarding, well, that will empower you to basically live out your good intended purposes and self in a very unrestricted way. If the universe trusts you with this, well then by all means trust yourself and have faith that with great power comes great responsibility, but the responsibility part is something that you already worked on, and basically you didn't just pass the test, you excelled at it so much that you deserve this. Especially if you have been living a life of self-sacrifice. Or if it has to do with your physical condition, well, maybe it's some kind of help like a disability or some kind of legal official help, which will make your life so much easier. Perhaps you won't ever have to work one moment, one day in your life. And after that contractual or legal situation becomes part of your life, miraculously you heal. So that means freedom and money and resources for free forever until your very last breath. So this is where the devil is also that kind of alchemy, where it turns all the bad suffering, the losses that happen to you, into power, into something palpable, into an advantage socially and materially. And where this is leading you is the Eight of Swords, freedom, no longer having bounds, no longer being limited. And in this particular tarot deck, look at the symbolism, the cocoon, the chrysalis. You know what arises from that, the butterfly. So it's freedom and beauty, because the butterfly is infinitely beautiful. You will get your wings back. And at the same time, the butterfly is light. So lightheartedness, ease, being able to basically live your childhood, your adolescence once again. And also another thing which I would like to add here, the magician reversed. You worked on this. You asked the universe continuously to help you get you out of this situation, to basically bring something in your path which can offer you a solution, a respite, an ease, or any kind of way for you to regenerate that which you lost. And it's not like you didn't get anything back, but rather it was like a trail of breadcrumbs. Everything that you needed urgently in that special moment was given to you, but in a very small quantity, and it was like the carrot on the stick. You were asking, where is this leading me? Where is this guiding me? Because it makes no sense. It's not like you weren't appreciative of the help, but that wasn't what you needed. It wasn't like that breadcrumb that you needed. You needed something to truly solve your situation for the long term. And with the awakening of your shadow, that was what you were missing. That was the, let's say, alchemical component that wasn't there yet. And since it's happening, or being triggered, or being resurrected at this eclipse, that is where the final solution is gonna appear in your life. But when exactly? Well, this Seven of Swords can be over the course of the next 8 weeks or 8 months. And also, Magician reversed. It's not what you think, it's gonna be a total surprise. And as I said, this is where you might need to drop your morality just a little bit, because the solution might be fantastic for you, extremely advantageous, but it might be a bit unfair for others or for society in general, or just morally speaking. I don't know, maybe many of your friends are struggling with something, and voila, all of a sudden you'll be placed on a pedestal by the divine, like for example a good fortune or something, and that will rub the salt in the wounds of your friends. And basically it is what it is. You have to accept this and not feel guilty, neither allow your own sense of morality to take this wonderful opportunity away from you. As I said, if this is how the divine imagined it, planned it, well, if it trusts you, you have no reason why you shouldn't trust yourself. So this is basically what the cards have to say for the second pile. Thank you so much for listening. Wish you an amazing and miraculous eclipse. Hi everyone who has chosen the third pile. The cards depicting your situation are the Ace of Swords, the Devil, the Lovers, and the Resolution is the High Priestess. Now this is such an interesting combination of cards. Well, firstly because this solar eclipse takes place in the sign of Gemini, and the tarot correspondent of this sign is exactly the Lover's card. So for you, this energy, this karmic momentum forward might be extremely important, because regardless of what your situation is, for example, where this sign of Gemini, 20 degrees of Gemini is placed in your personal chart, so which area of your life, well, it still represents a very powerful connection. Well, the High Priestess bears the numerology of 2, so it means you and someone else. The Lovers, well, 2, the union of 2 people. The Devil, also the union of 2 people. And the Ace of Swords, very powerful, a mental, intellectual energy, communication breakthrough. And quite frankly, the Ace of Swords is very much symbolic of this North Node in an air sign, where the solution is either a plan, epiphany, or a connection, communication, or something when 2 minds meet and become one. So first of all, this Ace of Swords also speaks about the past, where you have been through such a very long soul-searching, self-discovery, or mental realignment process in the past. Of course, we're not talking about the distant past, maybe a year or 2 years ago, when you started on this journey. And this journey of, rediscovering yourself, rediscovering your own uniqueness, individuality, has changed your life in so very many different ways. Well, first of all, it terminated certain connections. It basically got you out from a certain, let's say, nuance, a certain layer of society, and you went up and down, almost like a ping pong ball trying to find your way in the world. And the conclusion that you reached is that, well, you're too unique, you're too, let's say, cerebral, you're too aware of everything that makes this world what it is. They say that ignorance is bliss, but what if someone cannot be ignorant? What if someone's mind became so very strong that ignorance is not a possibility anymore? Well, that person will definitely be lost, totally lost in illusion, because everything is an illusion. So what do you focus on? What do you choose? How can you be authentic in a world of illusion? Or better said, you can be authentic, but what's the point if everything and everyone else lives illusions of different kinds? And at the same time, this Ace of Swords represent that you discovered so many gifts, talents, potentials, and inner strength that you have. Something that maybe was the total opposite of your childhood, where in your younger years, a lot of external opinions, education, conditioning basically depicted a very not authentic picture about who you are, how very skilled and talented you are. You in something, even if just intellectually speaking, intellectual creativity, intellectual power, well, you're the best of the best, and this was taken away from you. And it took all this time and soul searching and, events, funny events happening in your life for you to discover just how strong your mind is, and also that there is a very important reason why you don't fit in, why you're not like other people, and that is because, like it or not, want it or not, your mind is almost like multidimensional and is aware of everything. So of course so many things don't resonate for you personally. Like, let me just give you an example. Maybe you have studies, higher education, and you are very good at what you can do, what you've learned, what skills you refine, but to work in that industry might be impossible for you because you cannot help it but be aware that it's an illusion and it's somewhat of a lie. Let's say if you are a really good mathematician and you've chosen accounting or business or whatever, well, you see that everything is based on psychological manipulation and you just cannot resonate with that regardless of how skilled you are. But this doesn't matter as much because, as I said, there is a lot of soul searching. There was a lot of breakthrough moments, epiphanies, which kind of aligned you to who you truly are. And that became solid, that became totally crystal clear. And, this Ace of Swords, you might have done whatever was in your power to basically integrate that into your human life, into your human existence. And this is where the situation is a little bit different for different people. For some people, it's much more about the word that comes in mind is career, but that is not really the best term to use because you don't want like a typical career. You found this great creativity and intellectual, mental, almost quantum power inside of you, and you want to do something with it. So that's not really a career, but something to fulfill you and basically for you to give away shape, form, or manifestation to your skills and talents. And of course, your authenticity, the core of your being. So, this kind of career, if this is an acceptable term, while for other people, it's all about love and partnership and relationship. But if you look at it from a different perspective, actually, it's about relationship for everyone, where some people, even if they are in established bonds, and it's not about their emotional worlds and romance and all that, because they have that in their lives, but they're still looking for their place in the world, while for other people it's actually their place in their world, but it's much more like romance and the fulfillment of love, the fulfillment of partnership. But in each case, it is basically built around this Ace of Swords, who it is that you are, your intellectual power, your uniqueness, your distinctiveness, and the capacity of your mind. Now, this is something that you already had to complete, as I said, because the eclipse is built around this. You being able to know without a shadow of doubt who you are, how you are, what you can accept, what you cannot accept, what the High Priestess resonates, and what doesn't resonate is really, really important. And even if right now you're in a total blockage because nothing resonates, another symbolism of the High Priestess, no matter what you tried, how you tried it, it was ingenious, it worked, it had a lot of logic, but it got to a point where it just doesn't resonate anymore. So you're really wanting to find your place in the world, but based on resonance, because even your mind, even your thought processes, even your thinking, your own personal philosophies point you to the fact that, well, this isn't about logic, this isn't about rationality, this is about what resonates, because ultimately that will make you happy. That is the key to happiness and nothing else. And at the same time, it's also an unconscious energy, the High Priestess, because deep inside of you, especially in your dreams, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know that something is guiding you, leading you to a very specific and special destination, yet it's under a shroud of mystery. Your mind surrendered because it knew that it's not something you can basically anticipate or calculate or find the answers to, even with the strong intellect that you have. It is something which has to do with the soul. So your mind bowed before the soul. So even though you're trying your best to follow that inner calling, right now you might be still stuck. And it is this eclipse which will make you unstuck, if this makes sense. Now, by now you probably guessed it, that how this eclipse is going to manifest is you meeting either a group of people or that very special person. And the way you're gonna meet is this Ace of Swords communication, either through the internet, or this person is gonna be attracted, the devil, by something that you shared on social media, maybe something you wrote, a work of yours, a book of yours, an idea that you shared, a video that you created, anything that has to do with communication and you speaking or sharing your truth and your own intellectual creativity. Now, for those of you who are looking to do something with your intellect, as in finding your place in the world, for you guys it's very straightforward. Finally, the connection happens. You meet that person who is the intermediary and you get connected to either a group of people or that very special person, a partner, but as I said, not romantic. This is more like, let's say, business or something very, very practical, who has way more experience than you and who is already doing that. So they will just integrate you into whatever they're doing. They will show you the path, they will teach you, they will instruct you, and they will open new doors for you, so you will be part of something. But that something has the vibrations of this devil card, So it's not something mainstream. It also has a shadowy side. As in a double life, you have to hide what you're truly doing from the world and show just a symbol. As in, just let me give you an example. It looks like a cafeteria and you're part of a cafeteria business, but in truth, it is the meeting point. It is the headquarters of people who do magic. This is just an example. So you will actually use the power of illusion, something that always kind of defeated you, towards your true advantage, because that is why all throughout your life you explored all the different illusions of the world so that you can master it, you know how to identify it, and ultimately through that illusion to protect yourself and to make yourself successful. But you cannot do this alone, so this person, this partner, or this group will protect you and just make you thrive. And that self-fulfilling prophecy, the High Priestess, wherever your unconscious, your dreams, or your higher self have been guiding you, well, that is it. Now, for those of you who are looking for love and for, basically an established bond, this is your lover. This is that very special person. But there is a hidden catch. This person either has a lot of earthly power or they are extremely powerful one way or another. So much so that you might feel a little bit overshadowed. You might feel a little bit, symbolically speaking, eclipsed by this person. This person comes through as extremely self-confident, very, very stable, extremely alluring, extremely charming, if this makes sense. But you, on the other hand, are very much shy. You are not that open to the archetype of this person because they are a little bit shadowy. But again, the Lovers is actually the lower octave of the Devil card. Both of these cards speak about union, collaboration, when two elements work as one. The Lovers is idealistic, that's you, the sign of Gemini, the adolescent. The Devil is strings attached, but it makes a very, very good and powerful alliance because those strings are basically down to earth matters where an ideal cannot exist in an absolute way here on earth. And where you are extremely good with ideals, the absolute, you're an extremely intuitive person where despite your great intelligence and the power of your mind, it is still where your soul, the feminine aspect of your being, which is predominant and makes you extremely mysterious, powerful and knowledgeable and really, really deep. This other person is the opposite, where for them it's actually the power of their minds and not so much the intuitive sense. And that is why you complete each other so very well. And this person needs you. This person feels empty and, totally lost without that intuitive, subtle power that you have. And you, on the other hand, as I said, you're stuck. You don't know what to do with yourself. So you need the power, either the money, the material abundance of this person, or the know-how, the mastery, the mental focus, the mental discipline that they're able to bring to your life. But this is just one side of the story. This isn't about a relationship that is built around, you scratch my back and I scratch yours. But the attraction, the alchemy, the true romance, but in a very wild way, where both of you at first will just simply get lost in each other's being. This is the bigger part of the story, because that is when you get balanced out. That is how in a very, very quick time you'll get to know each other deep down to the soul level. This person's shadowy energy is going to be a fine completion to your own idealism, naivety, because you might be a very Neptunian kind of person, up in the clouds, in absolutes and ideals, everything unconditional, love, etc. And this person is much more like, well, mind over matter. If the absolute doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. But they do need your gentleness. They themselves also need to sometimes have their heads in the clouds and just dream and just embody this absolute, because that is the catalyst, the purity, the soul that they need. And this union, as I said, is going to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy for the both of you. This is where both of you are going to find your ways, your path, your basically the fulfillment of your life path. That is why I was so reluctant to call this a career, because this is more like a life path. So for some it's romance, for other is alliance and collaboration. But regardless, this is where two sides that complete each other and seek each other are finally gonna be united. Of course, don't get me wrong, this is not the twin flame or that kind. This is like for real. This is deep and profound. And also, regardless of where you're stuck with this Ace of Swords, that breakthrough that needs to happen, may it be money, may it be, what to do with yourself, may it be emotionally, spiritually, knowledge, whatever it is, this person is the solution. But vice versa, you're also the solution, what this person needs in their lives. So this is what I see for those of you who have chosen the third pile. Thank you so much for listening, and wish you an amazing and magical eclipse. For those of you who have chosen the fourth pile, your situation is depicted by the Four of Earth, which is the Four of Coins, the Teacher, which is the High Priest reversed, Two of Water, which is the Two of Cups reversed, and the Four of Air, which is the Four of Swords reversed. Now I do believe that for you guys, this Gemini solar eclipse is gonna be an energy which will finally, after such a long time, ground you. It will basically truly stabilize your material situation, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean just a job or career or money, but also from an inner perspective. For example, your place in the world, your self-worth, your value, who it is that you are as a human being. So it is a very down-to-earth, rational, concrete energy. And you do need this very, very much, because the resolution is the Four of Swords reversed. That means time for action. And if you take a look at the symbolism of this oracle deck, eggs in the nest. Those eggs are your hopes, your dreams, your future plans, and also, perhaps more importantly, the modus operandi of how you execute those future plans. And those eggs have been sitting in the nest comfortably, and at times also not so comfortably for you, because eggs are a symbolism of fertility. So it is something that you created. It might be an idea, your own unique idea of what you want to do, who you want to be, how you want to live in the future. But the egg was laid, but that egg needed to be protected. It needed a lot of warmth, a lot of attention, a lot of care. And perhaps the keyword here is infinite patience. And the universe really tested your patience, so much so that you're almost ready to just abandon your nest, to abandon your dreams, to abandon your hopes, to abandon everything that you have done until now. And believe me, you invested so much effort into this, especially psychologically and spiritually, that you cannot wait, maybe not even another day, for those eggs to at least start cracking, for them to show signs of life. You might not even be certain right now if those eggs are like rotten, if the life inside of them is dead and you're just living in an illusion, or if it's actually going to lead to birth. Those chicks will arise from the eggs, and after a while they will have wings and fly. And that is the flight of the chicks is the key word here, because that is what you so much need and desire. Flight is freedom. Flight is the execution, living your future, doing all the things that you want to do. And this four of earth, for some people, it was material resources they lacked. For other people, they might have one way or another gathered either the resources or the connections or the modus operandi, but the timing wasn't right for them. Like, for example, the COVID, how many businesses and opportunities did it put a stop to? And for other people, it was simply a question of inner strength, as in almost like physical power, time, energy, regardless if it's that intellectual energy or any kind of energy. It is not infinite. If we go back to the symbolism of the eggs with the nest, like, you protect your nest and you basically do everything you can to make those eggs hatch. But when you run out of steam, when you run out of, let's say, food, may that be inspiration, soul food, or quite physical energy, well, if the parent dies, if the dream dies inside of you, the eggs will die as well. So, you were at certain moments, and maybe this is what is the recurring theme, so very close to just giving up, just, flying off, because you reach the end of your endurance. And this is exactly what this Gemini eclipse is going to basically produce in your life. But even before this eclipse manifests, I do believe that perhaps the lunar eclipse, the total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, which we had on the 26th of May, 2021, well, it was like a really strong, I don't even know how to say, like maybe a little bit of bitter pill, where it just truly boiled up all the frustration from within you. The High Priest reversed. You were so very close, maybe you still are right now, to losing your faith, to losing your patience, to losing your spiritual balance. You are in between of, hope and absolute despair, giving up on your authenticity, on your self-worth, that four of earth. That is all about the self-worth. It is about you being able physically, down to earth, in society as a human being, to live the way that you are, the way that is true for you, the way that you can respect yourself, you can respect your dignity. And why is that so important? Well, it's because you place so much energy in your dreams, in your accomplishments, in work. You invested everything into your future goals and dreams. Again, the nest with the eggs. And energy is one thing, but when you sit on that nest, there is thunderstorms, there is snow, there is ice. So you endured everything that life threw at you with belief, with faith, with, immaculate spiritual approach to this. So you didn't just fantasize and daydream, but you truly meant it. You truly embodied your highest spiritual principles. You really endured and basically hold your ground in order for your dreams to become real. And one of the principles is, well, if you really work for something and you endure, well, life just has to give it to you one way or another. And perhaps this is why your faith in the world, even in the divine, in yourself and your worth, is very close to being broken, because it's a matter of timing. When? How much do you have to endure? Do you have the energy to invest anymore, or is it just a self-defeating goal? You don't know anymore what's right and wrong. You don't know anymore what is excessive. For example, investing even more time and energy, and what is healthy, where sometimes you just have to surrender. But this is exactly why this lunar eclipse might have been so very heavy for you, because the two of water reversed is the big lesson that you still needed to not necessarily learn because you know it deep inside of you, but to embody it. As in, there are moments in life when you have to choose yourself, when you simply have to detach from anyone, friends, family, lover, partner, children, anyone, any other person in your life, when your future depends on you focusing on it and dedicating your life, your energy to your being. Let's not forget that one of the biggest duties we have as human beings is to protect our earthly existence. And with this two of water, I do believe that some people, they really focused on their dreams and they input all this work into making it real, but at the same time, they were like also sacrificing for someone else. And that was so hard for them. And it doesn't matter what that sacrifice was. It can simply be having two jobs. It can be doing everything that you need for yourself to make your project, your plans, your dreams be viable in the future. And at the same time, supporting the same dreams and goals of someone else. So that means like doing this work for yourself and another person as well. And the reason doesn't matter. May that other person be a sibling, may that be a child, parent, etc. And this Sagittarian eclipse told you that that part of the work was done. That was like a charity. That was like an act of self-sacrifice, which you have chosen to do simultaneously. But that phase ended. Now it's your time, your turn, and both you and that other person, even if that other person is not a person but society, a charitable activity, or like a true charity, a humanitarian purpose, that has to end. And for other people, this Two of Cups was, doing all of these for yourself, your hopes and dreams, etc., for your material stability, for your place in the world of Four of Earth, and at the same time looking for love and romance, especially for those people for whom it is part of their future dreams. Yet this is when you also have to make a decision. That person didn't appear in your life yet. That doesn't mean doom and gloom and you're cursed to be alone forever. But right now with this Gemini eclipse, if you get the opportunity, if your eggs are hatching, abandon relationships and hopes for love. Let that be a theme for another cycle, because if your eggs are hatching, you need to feed your chicks. You need to make sure that you will be able to fly. So you will have to make this choice. So that means, how should I say, detaching in a healthy manner, both from desires of love and romance, but also from the highest spiritual, let's say, ideals, the highest spiritual philosophies, let's say unconditional love, humanitarianism, empathy, let's make the world a better place. This is where you have to focus on what is hatching in your life. And that is exactly why this Sagittarian eclipse was so heavy for you, to wake you up that this is your time. Your eggs are slowly and surely cracking, hatching. The chicks are coming, out. They are taking their first breath. So that means that you are stepping into your future, a future that you've worked on so much. So be sure that you're present and that you focus on that primarily, because the time will come for the other aspects of your life, for that deep spirituality, for the romance, for caring for others, for humanitarian purposes, after your dreams are alive, after they're part of your everyday reality. You can imagine how much joy, how much power, how much strength that will pump into your being. And when that moment comes, you will have all the time and energy in the world to focus on something else. And chances are, those eggs will hatch either in 4 weeks or 4 months. So that's not a long time. And as they become part of your reality, both that high priest and the two of cups will be upright. So you will be so very open to that love and romance and unconditional love and the highest spiritual philosophies, because your life will be a temple for it. Your life will be fitting. Your life will be abundant with everything that you need, and imagine how powerful you're gonna be. So this is where this solar eclipse and also the lunar eclipse was guiding you. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a magical and deeply revelatory eclipse. Well, this concludes today's pick a card reading. I do hope that you enjoyed it and that you found at least a little tiny spark of inspiration in it. Thank you everyone for all your support, for your likes, shares, and beautiful comments. If you'd like to support my work and help me create many more pick a card readings for the future, you can support me by donating on the PayPal link in the description of this video. With this being said, I wish everyone a wonderful, magical, and truly uplifting eclipse. May blessings and infinite abundance shower down on your life. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, bye for now.